Another major update has emerged in the intensifying U.S.-Iran conflict. U.S. Central Command has confirmed that the number of American service members killed in the operation has climbed as relentless combat operations continue to claim lives and shake military forces engaged across the region. The U.S. military says a fourth service member has died after previously being listed among those critically wounded during Iran's initial attacks. The service member had been seriously injured during the first wave of Iranian strikes targeting U.S. positions in the region and later succumbed to those injuries despite receiving medical treatment. This brings the total number of U.S. troops killed since the start of the operation against Iran to 4, while several other personnel remain seriously wounded as combat operations continue. Iran has carried out repeated missile and drone attacks in retaliation for U.S. and allied strikes across the region. Earlier, on March 3rd, U.S. President Donald Trump has vowed to avenge the deaths of the American service members killed in the conflict. In a 6-minute video posted on social media, the president described the fallen troops as true American patriots who have made the ultimate sacrifice for our nation, even as we continue the righteous mission for which they gave their lives. He also warned that more casualties could follow as the war continues, saying, "Sadly, there will likely be more before it ends. That's the way it is, likely to be more."
Earlier today, CENTCOM shared the news that 3 U.S. military service members have been killed in action. As one nation, we grieve for the true American patriots who have made the ultimate sacrifice for our nation, even as we continue the righteous mission for which they gave their lives. We pray for the full recovery of the wounded and send our immense love and eternal gratitude to the families of the fallen. And sadly, there will likely be more. Before it ends, that's the way it is. Likely be more, but we'll do everything possible where that won't be the case. But America will avenge their deaths and deliver the most punishing blow to the terrorists who have waged war against basically civilization. They have waged war against civilization itself.
The remarks came as U.S. and Israeli forces struck ballistic missile sites and naval assets across Iran as part of an intensifying military campaign following the killing of Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. Iranian officials say more than 200 people have been killed since the strikes began, while Tehran has vowed revenge and launched missile attacks targeting Israel and Gulf Arab states. Military officials say the identities of the fallen U.S. service members will be withheld until next of kin have been notified, in accordance with standard protocol. CENTCOM has reiterated that major combat operations remain underway, with U.S. forces continuing response and defensive missions across the region, as the situation on the ground remains fluid and rapidly evolving. CENTCOM, in its earlier statement, had reported 3 service members were killed in action in Iranian attack on U.S. base. One of the biggest updates in the Iran-U.S. conflict has just been confirmed by U.S. Central Command. 3 U.S. service members have been killed in action during combat operations against Iran, according to an announcement from United States Central Command, also known as CENTCOM. 5 more troops have been listed as seriously wounded. In its official release, CENTCOM said several other personnel sustained minor shrapnel injuries and concussions and are currently in the process of being returned to duty. The casualties come amid an escalating wave of Iranian retaliatory strikes targeting U.S. military installations across the Middle East. The barrage was launched on Saturday, following a sweeping U.S. and Israeli air, land, and sea bombardment on targets across Iran. Initial reports had indicated there were no casualties. However, updated assessments have now confirmed the deaths of 3 American service members. Additional details surrounding the circumstances of the fatalities have not yet been made public. Major combat operations continue, and our response effort is ongoing, the CENTCOM statement read. Officials say the identities of the fallen service members are being withheld. Their names will be released 24 hours after next of kin have been notified, in accordance with military protocol. The development marks a significant escalation in the conflict, with confirmed American combat deaths now adding a grave new dimension to the widening confrontation. As operations continue, the situation on the ground remains fluid.
At least 9 people have been killed after an Iranian ballistic missile struck the Israeli city of Beit Shemesh, approximately 30 kilometers west of Jerusalem. Emergency services say around 20 others were injured in the blast. Israel's National Emergency Medical Service, Magen David Adom, confirmed that its medics are treating multiple casualties at the scene. The death toll continues to soar. Among the injured is a young girl reported to be in serious condition.
This is the result of the Iranian regime ballistic terror. As you can see, the ballistic missiles was aimed at a civilian neighborhood. This is a civilian building. We had children inside this building, young children. We had elderly people in this building. One of these elderly people was a woman, an elderly woman, and she lived with a Philippine caregiver. The Iranian regime ballistic missiles murder this Philippine caregiver. But this is not only happening here in Israel. The Iranian regime is attacking the entire region. 8 countries, I repeat, 8 countries in the region were attacked by ballistic missiles of Iran. Not only Israel, Arab countries are targeted by Iranian regime missiles. And we say it very clear. We don't have any fight, any quarrel with the Iranian people. The only objective, the only quarrel is the Iranian regime murderous attacks.
Most of those killed had rushed into a public shelter seeking protection as sirens warned of incoming Iranian missiles. Authorities say the majority were inside when a direct ballistic strike hit the structure. While shelters protect against debris and near misses, officials say they cannot survive a direct impact of that magnitude. The Israeli military said search and rescue forces are operating at the impact site, alongside medical teams and a helicopter for casualty evacuation. Officials say efforts have focused on locating any additional victims trapped under debris and providing urgent medical care. The strike marks a deadly escalation as missile exchanges between Iran and Israel intensify. Beit Shemesh, a residential city, now bears the scars of the expanding confrontation, with families caught in the crossfire of a rapidly widening conflict. As emergency crews continue their operations, the human toll of the escalating hostilities is mounting, underscoring the growing danger facing civilians on both sides of the crisis.